Okay, so in this video, we're gonna look at Red Velvet's Irene scandal. From what I've read, there was like a stylist, and the stylist like made like an Instagram, and it was very vague about like an idol being like way rude to them. And then Irene came out later and was like, that idol was me, like I'm so sorry. And then it was like a big scandal, and I believe Irene lost a lot of like brand deals, and like people were very mad at her. And um, I think there's a lot of people who are kind of like confused about the whole situation. We're gonna see what happened. Did she do it? How bad was it? Was it like a psyop? Is it real? Or just, and also like, why was it like a big deal? Although it is different cultures, and I believe in Korea it's like a mega big deal to be like harsh to like your subordinates. We're gonna see. With that being said, everything I say is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only, and with peace and love. And let's go. Okay, this is gonna be Irene. This is gonna be the stylist. And this is the energy in between. A secret. Two secrets. Okay, Irene got the Two of Swords, which is sort of like being at a crossroads mentally and also not necessarily having the like foresight. We got the Moon in the middle, which is something in the subconscious or something hidden. It's also interesting because you have a dog right there and a wolf right there, which is sort of like your more primal instincts matching like what is socially acceptable. Then you have a stylist, which is kind of like opportunity almost. And like this card is interesting because it talks about opportunity, but also sort of like being a little indignant at like your options. So you're offered something and you're not like, that's not good enough. That's how it feels. I have no bias in this. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I mean, obviously I'm like rooting for the idol, but in this situation, because I wasn't there and I don't really have like a lot of like charged emotion about it, the stylist energy feels a little bit like snooty so far. That's how their energy feels. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels a little snooty. Irene, this also, if you notice, it's like they're like crossed over each other, so there's a sense of protectiveness right now. She feels very like protective. Let's pull more. This is interesting because it's like a secret. Just no. Sorry, relax. Moon again, baby, look, moon, moon, moon. What is going on? There's a secret. There's something they're not telling us. The stylist got the 8 or hairdresser? I'm gonna keep stylist, but I think it was like someone who did their hair and makeup. 8 of Pentacles, this is working at something, working at my craft. Oh, that makes sense. They take what they do very seriously. I think I read that the stylist was really like sought after, was really good at what they did. They are very serious about their craft. They're probably really respected and that they don't really like games. This person doesn't strike me as someone who likes to play games. Irene is interesting because this is the Justice in the reverse position, which is literally like injustice, being unjust. That could be that she treated somebody else unjust, but her energy is not really giving that. It feels like how she was treated in one way or another regarding the situation is unjust. Like she was wronged in some way. The 8 and 8, oh my god. What's going on? Can I tell you something? I was a bit surprised because I thought it was going to be like, well, like it's a disagreement, whatever. This feels like there's a lot below the surface. Like this feels actually quite complex because the 8 of Cups is like walking away from something emotional. And you see the red person right there, and you have, and the blonde, and look at the blonde right there. And it's like this would be like Irene's energy in this card. It's interesting, but this is walking away from something emotional. I don't feel like what I should have looked into this more deeply. I don't know 100% what Irene was accused of, other than like being really mean and maybe like yelling. I feel like what she was accused of or how it was portrayed was not accurate. Or, well, I shouldn't say that. That's how Irene views it. Almost like if you got into a fight with someone and they're like characterizing your actions and you're like, I don't think that's how I came off. I don't think that's like you disagree with how they characterized the incident. That's how Irene feels. But it feels bigger than that. Like there's something else going on. For one reason or another, I feel like Irene just had to emotionally walk away from the situation. I think she might have low-key been forced to come clean, but I don't know if she did it or not. The cards are being crazy right now. But it's sort of like, I think she was somewhat forced to like come forward. Yeah. Or maybe she was gonna come forward but do it in her own way, and like she couldn't have, like she was forced to do it in a different way. I'm obsessed with the fact that we're getting moons all over the place because that's intuition, secret, hidden, something in the dark. The stylist is interesting because their cards feel snooty and like they just take what they do very seriously. I don't even really feel like their energy doesn't upset, but that's maybe currently. I also don't know if we know who the stylist is. I'm sure sleuths probably figured it out, right? More, please. The Empress, that's taking care of yourself. Queen of Swords. This is so weird. Queen of Swords in the reverse position. Although this could be the stylist looking at Irene, but in the reverse position, the Queen of Swords is like dishonesty or not speaking well. The Queen of Swords in the upright is like someone who's exceptional at communication, maybe a little cold. Also, isn't like Irene kind of known to be a bit cold? So this could be her. No, I feel like it's the stylist towards Irene. Like the stylist isn't being 100% forthcoming about something. It also could be not necessarily a lie, but like they aren't intentionally mischaracterizing something, or how they said something, how they meant it, and how it landed came off poorly and they didn't correct it. It could be that as well. I do also don't think the stylist likes Irene, and I don't think the stylist liked Irene. Maybe from the jump, almost like, you know, kind of like bitch eating crackers a little bit. I don't feel like the stylist energetically particularly liked Irene even before this incident happened. Like they didn't like something about her, I'm not sure. But it feels just like kind of a vibe thing, like very bitch eating crackers. I just don't like her. Irene got the Empress, which is good news because that's taking care of yourself. Yeah, I've never read in depth on Irene's energy, I should say. I did like a poll between all the members of Red Velvet. Irene, to me, very like, I feel like she is not someone that carries a lot emotionally. Like she's someone who can process emotions and offlet them. So this isn't something that eats at her. I think it's something that still pisses her off, but there's a difference. Like she doesn't carry it in a heavy way. Because it's sort of like, I'll take care of myself. This is like the Empress is literally like basically a princess taking care of herself in the forest, like luxury, comfortable, like to herself. I do think Irene is a lot more careful about how she comes across. That might be, I don't even think the company told Irene to be more reserved, to be more favorable. I think Irene just simply did that. Like she's like, I need to be more protective of my energy and myself. She's much more careful about, I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it's a shame when people are afraid to express themselves, but in this case it feels like Irene's like, I'm good enough for myself, and that's good enough for me. That's how it feels. I like her energy. It's very like cold but like royal, very clean, kind of like not me bringing up Wanyang, but it's giving kind of Wanyang where she's just very like, well, 2 + 2 = 4, like very that. It's funny to me. Energy in between is the 9. We've gotten so many of the higher end cards. 9 of wands, that's like a boundary. Lack of boundaries, poor boundaries. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I think these people cross boundaries with one another. I see that there was a boundary crossed. Like they shared too much about like their personal lives, or like they were too like nitpicky with one another, or it was like too very tit for tat, or you could tell there was like tension or whatever for one reason or another. Like if you watch this stylist working with somebody else versus Irene, you could tell there was like something going on between the two of them. I don't think Irene particularly liked that stylist either, but I feel like in general Irene was kind of in a state where she didn't like anything. Like I think she might have been someone that was a little hard to please. So it wasn't personal to the stylist, but the stylist definitely took it personally, which I mean, like, in a conflict, I'm trying to be unbiased here, but in a conflict that makes sense where you take it personally. Even though in Irene's case, it just seemed like she just was not. If I tap into her energy, she just seemed like kind of irritable and like under a lot of pressure and just was sort of like, I hate everything. That's how it felt. In the reverse, though, apprehension. I feel like someone was walking around on eggshells, but I can't tell who. I suppose it's the stylist. Because Irene's energy, if I go back to that time, it feels spiky. It feels like a metal ball. It feels spiky. Like porcupine, maybe? Like she was someone that was hard to interact with. She was a little bristly, maybe is what it is. And because the stylist energy feels very... I feel like the stylist mischaracterized or misrepresented the situation. I can't tell intentionally or not, or just how they said it. What they meant and how someone else heard it, they didn't correct, even though that's not 100% right. Because I just feel that, like, there's something that either was left out of whatever this altercation is, or there was, like, a key detail that was missing. Either that Irene doesn't know about, or Irene does know about and, like, cannot share or didn't share. That's literally what I think. I wouldn't say that the stylist was intentionally being, like, awful, but I will say the stylist seems just, like, irritating. This person feels like they took themselves very seriously. It's interesting though, because Empress and Queen of Swords, I feel like they were butting heads, because at the time, wasn't Irene kind of at the height of her career, and the stylist, I think, seems quite prolific, so it might have been like two people who felt like they were the shit, like interacting with each other, and it was sort of like, no, like I'm the master now, you know what I mean? Irene, 2 again, balancing things, juggling things. I will say, I don't think this situation bothers her. I think it was devastating at the time. I don't think it bothers her that much now. Like, if you brought it up, she'd be like, oh, that was so annoying. And it'd be like, oh. Like, I don't know if it's the most devastating thing for her. She did, I believe, I read she lost a lot of opportunities. To be fair, I think this was kind of a blessing in disguise, a little bit, because it seemed like she had a lot on her plate. Truly, it seemed like she had a lot on her plate. I think she was under a lot of pressure. I think that's maybe why she was a little bit. I, I don't. I feel like Irene was misunderstood, but I also don't necessarily think what people, the negative things people were saying about her, like people coming out of the woodworks to talk about Irene, I don't think they're 100% wrong. I think she kind of was a harder person to be around, but I really think it's because she was misunderstood. Truly. Not to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like you didn't realize the pressures that she was under and she had a poor time handling them. That doesn't excuse behavior, of course, but I feel like it's like she wasn't just a bitch to be a bitch. I think I also, even now, if you met her, it's like she's somebody whose energy is just kind of hard to read, truly. It'd be like kind of like resting bitch face, where it's like if you have it, if you know someone and then you talk to them and they're like really nice, but it's sort of like how they look and how they first come off is quite frosty, and then you're like, oh, that's just, you just have to figure out how they are. The Emperor in the reverse position, SM, I think was caught in a rock and a hard place. I see, this is so funny. In my mind's eye, I see someone like bending SM's hand backwards. Of like, do it, do it. It might be the stylist. Maybe the stylist really has the type of clout. I'm not sure. SM, it feels like they had to fall to the knee. I think they really forced Irene to, I really think they forced Irene to make that statement. They were like, and they didn't want to do it. They were like, no, because Irene, I think, was a major moneymaker at the time. I don't know if Irene would have, like, I don't know if Irene would have come out of the woodworks herself. I really don't think so. To be honest, from my vantage point, I don't think Irene thought of, when this incident happened, that I would blow up into this at all. I don't think she was, like, nervous afterwards, like, oh, like, what have I done? She was just sort of like, well, on to stage. And it blew up. I don't think SM particularly wanted this to happen. The stylist got the Page of Swords in the reverse position, which is like not communicating. Yeah, something about the stylist's communication is fucked up. I don't know. I feel like Irene was the wrong one. I do feel like there was something that happened. I do think there was, however it was characterized, I don't think that's how it happened. I will say, I do think whatever Irene did, it crossed a boundary, it overstepped. But I feel like the stylist, I'm gonna be so honest, kind of has a stick up their ass a little bit, so like they took it and ran with it. That's what I fucking think. I think the stylist didn't like Irene from the jump. Irene gave the stylist a reason, and the stylist was like, you know what? I don't think the stylist was intentionally like truly throwing Irene under the bus and lying outright, but there's something that's mischaracterized. That if you were there, if you saw a video, if you heard the full story from a third party that's non-biased, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is fucked up. I don't know. I can't fully though say that Irene wasn't 100% not in the wrong. I think she did do something that was like in a workplace professional setting you shouldn't do. I don't think however Irene behaved was as terrorizing as the stylist seems to claim it is. I really don't. I do think whatever Irene did, it warranted an apology. I don't think it warranted her whole career collapsing. I'm gonna be so honest though, I really think it was for the best that this happened, because there was too much on Irene's plate, truly. I feel like she just could not manage it. So it's like, although that sucked for the time, I think it was for the best. Because I see her much more balanced or healthier or happier. Almost like she's really not meant to be kind of like a Jenny or a Wanyang, where it's like her face is everywhere and it's like massive. Her energy doesn't seem that way. She seems very like sleek black cat, not like, orange tabby or like golden retriever, This is, yeah, people coming for her. People coming for her hat. I think some of the way she's treated people, I really see that. I think some of that did come to roost for her. Fair. She was fighting for her life. I don't know if she probably couldn't, because K-pop idols typically can't defend themselves. But like, she was really seeing such harsh comments, and she was like, if I'm in Irene's energy, she sees it, she gets it, but she's also like, this is overblown. Which makes sense, I think, in general. When a scandal happens, it gets too big for whatever the hell happened. She sees it. I do think there was a crisis for her, though, of like, damn, I need to change how I relate to people. Because it just seemed like she wasn't... I think it's irritating because, like, women have to be so, like, warm and, like, accommodating. But it did seem like she was, like, overly biting to people. And it's like, girl, what the fuck? Stylist, rest and relaxation. They slept good. The stylist reminds me a little bit of in The Incredibles. What's her name? Edna. A little bit of Edna. Just very like, well, that's over. Like, I did my thing. I don't know if people particularly like came for the stylist, if the stylist name was like hidden or like just hard to access, but they were just very like, they still feel pretty satisfied by this. They saw an opportunity. They felt disrespected, they took it and they ran with it. That's so funny. King of Swords, SM. I don't know what the fuck is going on with SM. I see this constantly. They're not good with PR or communication or something. That would if SM wants to become bigger, and maybe they don't, maybe this is intentional, but SM really needs to work on communication. Period. There's something about I've seen this endlessly in how they communicate with idols in terms of like comebacks. I've seen this endlessly with how they like represent things in the public. It's like SM has an issue where they're too quick to make a decision, where it's sort of like you should have slept on that like a week more before you made a move to decide something. It's very like we did this and then it's like the outcome happens and then they regret it and it's like you're a professional massive company, what the fuck is going on? I see that though. I see SM not liking how they handle the situation. Specifically, I feel kind of a sense of like kind of sadness for Irene, kind of, but more like we regret the position we kind of put you in, even though you sort of caused this, but not really. I think it's two people who shouldn't have ever worked together that were working together. I do think whatever Irene did was fucked up, but this person blew it out of proportion. I think they mischaracterized. I can't say they lied, but they mischaracterized something. I also think there's a key detail missing that I've been trying this entire time to be like, what detail? But I can't figure it out. But I think it has to do with mischaracterization, certainly. I also think there's something on Irene's side she hasn't expressed, like why she did the thing, because I don't think we know why she just suddenly flew off the handle. It might have been that the stylist said something fucked up that like made Irene pissed. I'm not sure. I can't tell who started it though, but I do know I don't think these people liked each other from the jump. I don't know if this is the first time that they met or not, if they worked together many times, but it's like the stylist did not like Irene and Irene didn't really like anyone. I wouldn't say it's a side off, but I would say it got blown out of proportion. I think it's unfair. Irene seems like she's mostly moved on. I think at the time she was in the trenches. I think it was shitty. I think she had to fall on her sword. But I do largely think it was for the best because she got the Empress, which is sort of like, I have more time to take care of myself now. I'm not like such a busy bee forced into so many things and having to do so many things. The stylist doesn't seem that bothered. Like if you talk to them about it, they might like laugh and be like, oh, that was crazy. If I met the stylist, I think I'd find them interesting, but I would like watch them from a distance rather than get up close because they'd be like, you seem like you have a strong will. Well, I don't know if I helped or answered anything. If you felt bad for Irene, I think you're a little like, you're right for that. You're right for that. It was too out of proportion. There's a detail we're missing that I think would give people more compassion for Irene. I do think whatever Irene did, it was not professional. It warranted like a private apology and maybe like a flower or something. Fuck. SM, figure it out. Wrap it up and figure it out. They're so bad at communicating. I see this constantly. Well, I also offer personal readings if you're interested. Link in description or whatever. With peace and love.